Hello, beautiful people. New Earth family, all of you looking to launch into your brave new lives. We wanted to just give an update. Well, first, we want to say thank you for everyone that's tuned into our Thanksgiving event and then this last weekend, the Kiss the Ground film. Both we aired on your platform, Shay, at Earth Heroes TV. So I just wanted to, we get a lot of emails. Actually, Sovereign gets a lot of emails. And we often have to explain things. So we wanted to just talk a little bit more about the partnership with Earth Heroes TV, where we're able to stream uncensored. But can you just explain a little bit? I'll put the link up there where people can find it, what the vision was behind it, what the intention is, and how people navigate through it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amani. And happy birthday again, Souvereign, for the weekend. What a great film and little party that was to celebrate your life with a beautiful film that is an inspiring message to the world. And I took a lot from it on things that I can do on an individual level and how we can come together. And so Earth Heroes TV, we are currently creating our own documentary, which is quite similar to the Woody Harrelson narration of Kiss the Ground, in that we focus on the regeneration. And it was in this process of making this documentary where we thought, oh, where should we put this documentary? Do we put it on Netflix, or do we put it on Gaia, or do we go to iFlix in Asia, or what's going to be the best place to get this inspiring message out to the world? Because this is something that we've realized in this whole process, is that today we have such a powerful ability to be able to communicate and to collaborate and create through the internet, through video formats specifically. What we're doing here right now is communicating to hundreds of people simultaneously to share a positive message, to create a positive change and an impact that's going to help the next generation of children. And that's what the film focuses on. And we were posed with these questions: where do we put it? What do we do with it? How do we get it out to the people who need to see this, but also could do with the inspiration to move forward in their life? And so from that, we collaborated with a yoga studio to bring Earth Heroes TV, which is a subscription-based model where we would, similar to Gaia, but look at what is happening locally on the ground, and we would showcase videos that were in alignment with our values, which are simply self-care, people care, and also earth care. So the platform has grown exponentially over the last 6 months now, and we mostly because it's a non-censored platform. It's also ad-free, and it's a very affordable rate for viewers to contribute and give back to people who are also feel in alignment with their values and in resonance with what they're sharing with the world. And so,
Shay, just to comment on the non-censored part, which has become more and more relevant in the last month. So I think, and it sounds like you all organically created that, so similar to what we did here at Reclaim Your Lives, based on need and just reaching out in the community and leveraging the technology of today as the modern day mycelium that is, it's like we have one foot in each world, right? And this is the way that it's really important for us to stay connected. And so many people have reached out to us saying that, what we're doing here at Reclaim Your Lives and the Line in the Sand event and with Brave New Life has been like oxygen for them. And when I look at your platform, it's so refreshing. It just feels like a breath of fresh air, and it's so beautiful to collaborate with you. And I know that, how much love and labor you're putting into that. So we're happy to support that. I know that if people, Sovereign has this thing he likes to say, that love is not for sale. And he's been kind of sharing his Syntropy Sovereign musings with the world. And he's through his podcast and course, which is on there, right? Sovereign, people can access your course through Earth Heroes too, and your website. Yeah.
I think that's a fantasy that Shay and I will.
Well, see, I had a premonition.
But no. Yes, you had a premonition. Now, on sovereignsharing.blog is where I share how to come into syntropic relating to life, to really navigate ourselves again and really coming home, returning remembering all the intrinsic and innate wisdoms that we already have. But for as long as nobody speaks to that, people actually don't really, they're not able to relate to it in that way. And so I feel that it's really relevant what I bring to the conversation, and I hear that in the biofeedback, and so that's beautiful. So there it is, yay!
So,
Definitely worth checking in with.
so if people now, a lot of people asked us for the replay because it's a different link than when we set out in the email. So a lot of people weren't able to make it for time zones or had some confusion getting on the link. We just wanted to make a little announcement that we'll be sending out another email. But if they go to Earth Heroes, will they be able to access that? Or there's that membership thing. But if anybody is on the Brave New Life email list and wants to needs support, and how are you saying that, Sovereign, around the membership so that people can reach out to you directly?
Yeah. Well, if you are not on Brave New Life mailing list yet, we really recommend that you just check in with that. We just came off a beautiful hour-and-a-half community conversation. I just love doing it because it feels good, and to do what feels good, guess what it does? It feels good, and so feeling good feels good. That's something worth following, and I recommend for people that want to explore connection, relating, coming into some expansion of awareness or different way of relating to life. It's a very gentle way for people to open themselves up as well. There's, I had an email this morning from a beautiful lady that doesn't yet dare to come onto the community conversations, and so it is and yet she's been getting our emails for like over 2 months, and so it's a safe, beautiful space for those of us that feel stuff coming up around being in a shared space, relating, and yet this is so intrinsic to our human ecology, our human. It's what causes so much suffering in so many people's lives is that they're actually not in connection. And so really an open invitation. But when you are on the Brave New Life newsletter, we post all the private Zoom calls onto our Brave New Life channel with Earth Heroes TV, so that anybody that misses that will get a reminder email like, here's where you can watch it. And of course, some people are it's just part of where we are currently with this whole 2020 scenario. Some people aren't able to make a contribution to get a 3 months or even a year subscription, because that is actually what supports putting that technology together and making that all work. And they can reach out to me because we don't want to leave anybody behind. We don't want to make people feel like, oh, if you don't have money, you can't be part of this. That's not why we're doing this.
Because love isn't for sale.
Well, no, for sure. What for me is really relevant is that we put it to people that if they feel that attraction to have access, then you have to be willing to show up for yourself and to acknowledge, I would like to receive support, because we want to give it to you. We're not trying to create an exclusive club for people that have non-valuables, in their bank account digits that are there that they can. No, we want you to be a part of it, but you have to show up for yourself. And I'm being really clear about this because we've had some comments of people. It's like, oh, now I see it's all about the money. It's like, when you are unresolved with the world of men and finance in your life, we're willing to extend a hand because we comprehend very much the depth and scope of the cult programming that is really festered into a lot of people's self-worth, into their own ability to say, I actually want more for myself, but I don't know how to ask. I am here sharing with all of you. Ask in, check in, just send me an email, get on our mailing list, and become part of something beautiful. And that will allow whoever is listening to this, that this is relevant to, it will allow them to see that not only are they worthy by default, we're all equal by default, and we are willing to extend support and assistance so that others that benefit that can actually open themselves up to something that they maybe wouldn't normally allow themselves to participate in. So don't exclude yourself.
I want to add to that, Sovereign, a couple of things. One is that a lot of people weren't able to make the conversations. We had our room blocked at 100, and then we expanded it. So now we have over 100 people tuning in for our weekly conversations. And now you just started the one for Australia. So we have 2 a week, but a lot of people still can't. They have things going on or they miss it. So everybody's been asking for the recordings, and we were really clear that we weren't recording them. It was just kind of, you had to show up and participate and be present. But the partnership with you, Shay, at Earth Heroes has allowed us to put them behind a wall so that they're not just publicly accessible, because we wanted to respect people's privacy. So it was a beautiful solution for us to make them available. And also, they're so precious, so many just preciousness in those conversations and so much healing that we didn't want to actually contain it, but we wanted to really respect the energy of the group and all that. So being able to put them behind that and have people, we have made it somewhat difficult to not to give access, but for you, like Souvereign saying, to actually not just ask for it, but to make the effort to receive it. And whether it's in asking or going through that process and not expecting a third party to just do it for you and everything to just be available to you. So that's another thing that we've really talked about in our conversations. And I think this conversation around codependency and this cult program that we have, Souvereign, in our relationships, and we've been able to really, I think, like our connection in the last few months is templating out what I'm envisioning, this new way of us relating as we are, speaking this new love language of sovereignty that's so new and unfamiliar to so many people, even though it's not new in their cells, but it's like we're all in this together. And so I think it's really important to talk about that third party and expectation, because we mostly receive wonderful emails from all of you. However, at times we do receive emails where there's an expectation or some kind of, what would you call it? Not just an expectation, but like this kind of effort to contract us to deliver something that we're actually not even necessarily offering. We're offering it, but there's no attachment. So it's been a really beautiful experience for me. But I think if you could kind of dive into that, because that's some of the conversations we've had in there, Souvereign. I know we're not going to be on long, but I think it's an important one of how we relate based on the programming that we've all experienced.
Yeah. It's a very relevant subject. The full reality of this entropic nature of life is that it operates on unconditional love. And unconditional love, in a sense, is no contract. It's an exchange of energy that takes place in the soil, in all of life, all around us, where everything performs a function with purpose. And nature is very much in acceptance of receiving support and also effortlessly just sending out the signals. Hey, I would like some. I'd like some calcium. I would like some, it's just continual flow of energy. When humans, in their ecology and in their own experience, become traumatized and raised in a world of men that is full of belief systems and matrix-based programs that are artificially steeped in lack and scarcity narratives that are then reinforced to be upheld through control mechanisms and domination mechanisms, our nature totally gets warped around. And we kind of forget who we are. And many people have inversion logic, as I call it. It's like the inversions that it brings about are quite ferocious. And when we comprehend that as humans, like I for certain do that, I can just see that there's just so much to unravel and so much to unfurl. So when humans are trying to intensely contract me, all they're really doing is just sharing how they're feeling and to be welcoming of that. So training myself in my receiving of that, I actually don't have anything to really hook into that makes me emotionally react and go like, wow, I'm doing all this stuff and now you're going to be telling me that I need to also give you all of this. I just see another human being, another sovereign human being that is having an experience going on around money or around free access. And the beautiful thing in nature is that there isn't necessarily such a thing as free. There's flow, there's exchange. And when we are still unresolved as humans around this kind of we want things for free. It sounds really beautiful, and it's a great sales pitch, of course. And yet, when that comes with an expressed sense of entitlement, then it's really just steeped in unresolved emotional imprinting around the world of men, which is really the premature separation from love, which is the premature separation from our safe and sacred womb space that we weren't necessarily all birthed from in a Lotus type setting. And I just put something nice on my own blog around Lotus birth because I just had my birthday, and I thought I should really finally put some words to the relevancy of starting relating around Lotus birth, because anything that comes up for humans that is of an emotional intensity and maybe even a bit of that entitlement, unnatural frequency of saying, expressing with a sense of, I'm not happy with who you are and how you be, well, that always and only says more about themselves than really about me. Of course, I'm always willing to check in with myself, as is Shay. Am I navigating in a natural frequency? Was I a bit over speaking? Was I maybe not coming from a place within myself that is really from love? And so I see that all of the communication that we get is a beautiful opportunity whenever it is a little bit entropic, whenever it is a little bit needy or demanding, to meet that with love, and for everyone to be welcome to express what feels relevant to express. And when they are in our Brave New Life little ecosystem, which is part of the larger ecosystem, but it's kind of like a filtration system, we have that space and opportunity to delve into this at some points where it's relevant.
But you just reminded me that we said we were going to have this conversation on birth, conscious conception, because that's one of our passion topics, and bringing Christian back into that. So I'm going to put that on the calendar. Somebody was asking about the calendars coming up. So like we said, we have our conversations this is Monday in Bali. So my Sunday, your Monday, and then Thursdays are our conversations. And to get those, you get on the Brave New Life mailing list. But those conversations will have a home on Earth Heroes if you miss them and you want to be part of that. So you have to get access to that through the membership. If finances are an issue, reach out to Souvereign. Souvereign, can you put which email? Because I know you have a couple that you want them to message you, and what you want them to put in maybe the title. And then the upcoming events, we are planning, somebody asked, so there's a lot of intense kinds of moments coming up in the weeks ahead. We're planning a event that Sasha's been talking about, which would be through Line in the Sand. It's focusing on Fauci. So those are in the works, and we should have information coming out soon on that. This Tuesday, we'll be doing, Sasha and I will be hosting a live with Lee Dundas. She's a human rights attorney and on sex trafficking and politics. So that'll happen on Tuesday. And then we're planning another event with Oracle Girl, which will be live streaming to Earth Heroes and open to the public. And that is going to be around solstice on the 22nd. So again, details, because everyone is getting censored, to make sure you know how to get to the Earth Heroes platform and that you're getting our communications. Just make sure you're on our mailing list, because we are all taking turns getting quarantined for spreading the virus of truth. I just got back on Facebook after 30 days. Actually didn't miss it really. But it is nice to reconnect to many of you, and it makes it a little bit easier. But what it reminded me is how easily we pivot and come up with new solutions. And again, it comes back to what you just said earlier, Sovereign. I mean, when we really put the effort in, we can find solutions. So that is there for us. Anything else that either of you? I thought there was something else I was going to ask you, Shay, and now my mind. Do you want to ask?
Yeah. Thanks, Imani and Sovereign, for sharing. Of course, feels relevant to share part of what we value in terms of earth care and how we can relate to syntropics and the permaculture principles. One that we really focus on is inclusion instead of segregation, or integration rather than segregation is one of the principles. So we want to build this family, to grow together, to support people, and already that the platform is host to so many amazing events like Kiss the Ground film from the weekend, Oracle Girl, Purification Meditation, Amani sharing, Sovereign sharing, Christian sharing, and a an archive already of footage from the community conversations, and I'm just so excited to see what is going to create next and what's to come, because it's wonderful to see that when we come together and we support one another, what beauty we can create in the world. And it's just a powerful time to really work together, and it's amazing to see what's coming to fruition.
I love your expression of that. And, you know, just in case people couldn't tell from the accent, they're on the other side of the world. So this is based in Australia, which is really sweet. So we're getting both sides of the world. But Shay, if somebody has something to offer, do you have a way that other people can put things on the platform? Do people reach out to you, or is it on the website?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all about co-creation and collaboration, and that's how this Brave New Life channel has been created. So we're totally open to receive anyone who feels relevant to share anything valuable to the community and to the world at this time, and we'd love to work with you. I can put in our email address to contact us. That'll be the best way, and we can open that conversation around how we can support each other to bring your vision to life.
Yeah, I mean, we're truly templating out this new way of relating and the new way of how we're going to birth this new earth. So grateful that we all crisscross paths, and I can't wait for the film to come out in January, and that's going to be a very exciting moment. And we'll do more around the regenerative agriculture. This weekend was the World Soil Day, and I think because Souvereign, our passion around birth and community and like this regenerative agriculture, your syntropy, so much I'm learning from you. That's the solutions aspect of what we're doing, because there's a lot of challenges that people are facing. There's a lot of information that people are integrating, and a lot of shifts happening for people, but it sometimes can be very heavy. So I think it's really important for us to have these kinds of conversations too. Yes, Lotus Birth. Yes, we're going to have a conversation on Lotus Birth. My last one was a Lotus Birth, my last daughter. And I don't think as many people know about it, but I love your writings on that, Souvereign, and sharing. And I definitely want to get more of that message out to the world. We have a few minutes left, Souvereign. Anything to close that you want to add before we end? Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Did you get your email out there? Both of you? Okay, great.
Beautiful. This new earth starts really with peaceful birth, and we are coming to the end of a birthing culture that is an industrially run, patriarchally orientated. It's called a medical industry. It is actually Luciferic, false light, full stop. There's a tremendous amount of violence being inflicted on new souls coming into this earth with no reason other than the entropic and really archonic frequencies of control and domination, which are there to suppress and repress the divinity of our human expression. Because if you violate a spirit in a body at birth, not only does it invite through the trauma gaps that are being created through the physical violence of cutting either the cord, or in an even better example of what's happening in the United States. And I'm willing to speak to this on an open platform, because it's so relevant to really talk about this. And it's possible that it brings up tremendous amount of unresolved emotional imprinting, shame, guilt on behalf of fathers and mothers. I for sure can speak to the feeling, the felt feeling of cutting the cord on my beautiful boy, Joshua, and how utterly incongruent with life it felt. Not only did the cord not want to be cut, I got a scissor out of a new pack, and it couldn't even grasp onto it. But that was my job. It says, now it's your time, Dad. And so we live in a cultural state of really an inertia and an unawareness that starts right at the beginnings, where human life is supposed to actually be in a continuum. And for that to be maintained, we benefit really reflecting on the foundations of our human ecology as a Western culture, as opposed to the Western cults that we are really having been programmed in. And these word sounds may sound a little bit confronting and harsh, but I've just really learned that if we speak to that from love and we focus on these syntropic orientations as to how we benefit reorientating ourselves, if we don't comprehend that what we've been doing has been utter and sheer human damage, has been distorted fantasies and belief systems that we adopted simply because the culture around us was doing it like that, well, then we're not our own leaders. And we're not actually standing in our sovereignty. We're not thinking for ourselves. We're not critical about what actually is really relevant and how to uphold love, free will, and sovereignty to the extent and into the natural space where that normally in a healthy natural human family would express itself. We would never violate younglings. We would never speak over the top of them in harsh and violent ways, the ways that we would never speak to our friends or our own family, older brothers. And so there's a lot out of place. And I speak to this in some of my sharings, but I feel that it's only really relevant to address it when it becomes addressed. And I'm currently not navigating around younglings. I'm not currently navigating around grown-ups that have younglings that are doing it unnaturally. And this is probably the real meat. If we really want to talk about the real core essence, and also my primary reason for even coming out with what I've come to remember, this is for the younglings past, present, and future. These are for the younglings disassociated within the past. These are the younglings that are right here on the earth right now, that we are the generation of grown-ups that can actually stop handing down trauma. But we have to be willing to radically self-reflect on whether or not we are navigating in a natural frequency around the younglings in the present. And then as we are willing to do that, we can free ourselves of all the garbage that we got programmed with and imprinted with, which is raw work, which is relevant work, and it's real relating in that sense on with each other around, this is what happened to me. And that's as fundamental and foundational as I see feeling-based relating really becoming in our Brave New Life conversations, because that from that place within and transforming everything that we are still storing from our own childhood, freeing that up allows just our natural nature to reemerge, our remembrance on how to do it naturally to come about. And that will set the stage for that ideal new earth human ecology that everybody has got fantasies of. And it involves everything. It involves regenerative agriculture. It involves regenerative cultural mentalities that are regenerating and restoring the original natural blueprint that life in and of itself operates on. And that is a syntropic metric. That is the hidden hand of God that expresses itself through all living things, from the higher stratus to the lower stratus, from the unseen into the seen, from the external into the internal. And so as below it is in the ground, in the soil, as it is above in ourselves, in our being, us, the mammals that walk on the ground. And these are real subjects that I pluck apart, that I bring into relationship, into agroforestry systems, so that people can have a sense-felt way of relating to transgenerational cult programming and how to undo it and dissolve it within, so that the next generations will be freed of this parasitic, entropic, human damage-laden way of them having to deal with the unresolved of the grown-ups. It's such an unnatural stage that we are in, and yet this is exactly where we are. So there is no right or wrong. It's just, what do you do with it? And are you willing to even do anything about it? Because it is a choice. And that's what we speak to, how to re-enable our will, to cultivate that will, to simply start getting real with what's all still there in the thoughts and in the feelings that is actually not natural. Because we do want a human culture that is of that new earth metric. Well, it's going to take real effort and real willingness to bring out all that stuff on the internal landscape of our own agroforest, to get those rusted pikes of trauma that are leaching belief systems into our subconscious that say, well, men don't cry. Yeah, that's a rusted pike that sits in your internal landscape. The way to get that out is to start speaking around how it actually feels, that, and is it even natural to think like that? And so we engage in remembering each other and offering each other that space, that safety space, to hear another human being from their experience, share how they have navigated this. And what that does, it unfurls, and it's kind of waters down, and it decalcifies these cells that have been really challenged to receive love, to be met with love. The greatest pains that I've ever experienced in my life is when beautiful friends, loved ones, showed up in loving ways and helped me. I was freaking out. Why? Because my calcified metric wasn't used to being actually really met unconditionally with love. And that's how we want to show up with each other. Shay, please close us out if you be so kind to add some of your beauty to this.
Sovereign, you're amazing, and Amani, you as well, and of course this community that has really come to life through this platform and through the new earth, because we're all sharing that same resonant frequency that we want to create for the world, the imaginal cells that we are for the new earth. And it's so exciting to be a part of this community and this collaboration. And I just want to send out a huge thank you, huge love to all of you for showing up and just tuning in and being a part of these calls, being a part of this video, being a part of this world right now, because the world needs you.
Beautiful, both of you. Welcome home, everyone. We'll see you on one of our conversations and on the Earth Heroes platform. We'll be in touch soon. Lots of love.